I will do my best to snuffle out some cool hand fills while I'm away that hopefully will show up in a future virtual. We'll see how it goes and how much I can get away with shoving in my suitcase. But I cannot think of a better brand to share with you guys before I head off. I'm so excited to be tasting Liquid Treasures alongside you all. And we have our extra special guest tonight, Vincent, who's the man behind the drams. But before we get into all that, quick housekeeping to run through. The tasting order for tonight, for those who are watching online and who aren't in the chat. Whiskey number 1 is the Balmanac 10-year-old. Whiskey number 2 is the Othrosk 11-year-old. And God, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Whiskey number 3 is the Fettercan 12-year-old. Whiskey number 4 is the Tiananic 11-year-old. Whiskey number 5 is the Speyside 1992 blended malt Macallan 30-year-old. I think we've put Macallan on the tasting bottle.
Don't name it officially Macallan.
Yeah, exactly. No name, but totally official. And whiskey number 6 is the Secret Highland Malt 21-year-old, which is not a sherry hogshead. I know that it says it on the bottle, but typos reminded us exactly of a similar one from Thompson Brothers. So we were like, yeah, this is sherry too. You guys might have seen in the email our virtual tasting housekeeping video. It goes over the usual pointers of if you've got 6 glasses, please use 6. Otherwise, if you don't, no stress. Please don't drink and drive, all the key things. If you haven't had the chance to watch the video, please do at some point, or if you ever need a refresher. And without further ado, that's it from me. Let's absolutely crack into this Balmanac, which is a distillery I love but don't get to see very often. And I will hand it over to Vincent, who will tell us a story of how Liquid Treasures came to be and more about this brand.
Yes, again, and officially hello to Australia. Just a quick question beforehand. So I checked my records, and my last approach in Australia is about 4 years already. So with the virtual tasting, that time with Whiskey and Ale, the former importer. Is there anybody here tonight? So that has attended that as well?
Yeah, I think Michael Seagram's.
Okay.
Good.
So I hope they don't get bored if there's any facts they already know, because for the other audience, I think I just will start from the beginning. So and if I chat too much away, I think you will have the look on the time or on the timetable. So it's evening in Australia, so you might have no other appointments afterwards. So, but if I talk too much and we need to fill the glasses again, just tell me, we make a little break. So yes, it's 11 in the morning, so it's for me it's like good. I just had my morning coffee finished, so it's kind of, so that's the good part of the job. So you have like a little excuse to drink in the morning. But yes, maybe just one sentence or 2 sentences to the about the lineup tonight. So we have a good mixture of a few daily dram or mainstream pleasers. We have some 1 or 2 uncommon drams in that lineup, and we also have what is really interesting, the most expensive bottling we have done so far, and the most uncommon, for my impression, the most uncommon bottling we have done so far. So we have a little to do, yeah, not just mainstream casks, but also yeah, grab and find some whiskeys you don't have every day. So yeah, the Balmanac is was part of the Wonderland series in 2022. So we will gonna have 2 other more of that 2022, and it more or less contained like daily drams, just like easy drinking whiskeys. And so when I opened the bottle here, so there's a lot of was a lot of caramel and chocolate in there, and that is, if you have that in the glass, it's a bit different. But okay.
And please, guys, pop your tasting notes in the chat. I'm super curious, actually, as well. Just a show of hands, is this anyone's first time having a Balmanac? Because I know it's not a really common distillery. Mark, Rodney, Tom, and Michael. Yeah, cool.
And for my taste, even it has what I have to always do cask strengths, so we don't do any dilution on. So I think everybody can do that themselves, you know. And even with these like 50, what is it? Sorry, 58. It can you can put in a little drop of water, because there's a little how do you call it in English, acidity a bit. So, and that opens a bit more when you add a few water. So but while you have or finish the drink, so maybe sentences about my starting or my way through the whiskey industry. And I always love to tell that to Australian audience, because my my way in the spirits whiskey industry is somehow connected to Australia. The guys that have attended the tasting for ago maybe recognize or remember that. So I came back from traveling around Australia, your lovely country, for a year, and I came back area where I grew up, where I had my schoolmates, and I reconnected. These were the founders of the well-known Whisky Fair festival in Limburg, the big international, I call it international gathering of whiskey geeks. And so yeah, they asked me, so you want to join us? You want to work with us? Because just back in that time, it was a very popular festival already in 2007 around. So I joined them, and so the first approach was work. I just did like administration work, maintaining websites, the festival support, sales support. So more like the work side. And of course, if you have a pro to educate yourself, and I was somehow surprised why so many people come to Limburg. So why do they share? There are so many bottles. So what is the hype of just for, how do you say, on just one single spirit? So of course I started educate myself. I attended tastings that we host from the Whisky Fair side. Of course, I had drams here and there behind the stand when working, and I was really yeah, surprised. So all these how do you say, so that you have so many different, yeah, like different distilleries, different maturation, age, whatever. So it was really interesting for me. So that was the time when I approached enjoyable part of the whiskey scene. And yes, I worked a couple of years for the Whisky Fair, still working for the festival. And then it was like I think in every business career there are doors that open up, and that was the next step was around 2009 when I founded eSpirits. That's the company behind the bottling with treasures, and it was originally founded. The name eSpirits is not very creative. It's coming from e-commerce and spirit. And back in the time 2009, Limburg, the Limburg area, was very well known and kind of a breeding cell for whiskey. We had the Whiskey Festival, we had a whiskey bar, we had the same at the same time, one of the Whisky Fair owners, Carsten, installed the Whisky Agency. And we imported the Villa Conta bar imported the bottlings from Belgium. And I was asked, so what do you think? Your knowledge, can you set up an online shop so we can sell these the Daily Dram bottle on the internet? And I said, yes, yes, of course I can do that. So that the time when eSpirits was born in 2009, we have like so many different EB bottlers in around the fair bottlings, the festival bottlings, Villa Conta bottlings, Daily Dram agency for sure. So it was just a little step to say, okay, we don't just sell the Daily Dram bottlings there, we just enrich the portfolio of the web shop. And yes, that was really time. So I don't want to, how do you say, mourn about the good old times, but I remember when we had these like Glen Grants and Tomatines from the 70s, you know, like 30, 35 euros, and we sold them like for 140 euro, 125 euro. Okay, at that time, I still thought like, oh, that's a lot of money just for a bottle of whiskey. But if you think what the prices are now, yeah. So it's a bit of mourning, but I complain or like don't want to tell too much about remembrances. We had like curry savas from the 80s, and it was like 20 euro, and we couldn't at the beginning we couldn't get rid of them. So you know, we were a sales company, so then we wanted to make a revenue. So it was kind of sell these, but imagine if you had like a curry savas or even from the 70s, the Daily Dram bottling was like 200 euro, and we had like, and we sold it very, very on a very low level. That's how do you say that? That's the past. So you are forward. So that was the time when eSpirits was founded. And if you see it from the business side, so you see a lot of demand of on EB bottlings. The next step to say, okay, I have a good platform to sell. I have a good customer audience. Why not starting doing EB bottlings yourself? And for sure on a lower level, like many other EBs have started. You had like you bought half a cask or even a quarter of a cask, like sharing casks, and you put your own label on it. So and that now we have 15 years anniversary this year. So that's constantly grew and grew and grew, and yes. So back in the times, these bottlings were released in 2022. We had very, very good years. 2021, 2022 were very, for my company, was very, very very good years, apart from all the Corona stuff and the problematics. But and even we had the fair to be canceled twice. So so this is the good part. But we had a lot of like online tastings, and if you can find anything positive, it's like you can. Everybody was forced to explore or install new communication. It's pretty cool. Just I don't know if I've ever been just again flying around the globe for a tasting. So this pretty good a pretty good way. We can do that on a more regular basis in the future when we have more bottlings to come. So yeah, to that. So we had a good time with whiskey and ailment, and I fully understand at some point that you have that you maybe shift your and I did that as well. So any daily drams and anymore, I to whiskey broker. So I'm one of the importers of the whiskey broker ranch here in Germany. So yes, things can change, and that's okay. Yeah, move forward. So I'm looking forward to work now with you guys, Oliver, Emma, Chris, as well as here. I just see Oliver.
Yeah, no, Chris doesn't join us on these things.
Okay.
Actually,
okay.
he can't because
no
he's in Scotland right now on the VIP tour.
Okay.
Normally he doesn't join us anyway.
Okay.
It's just Ollie and I going loosey goosey. But yeah, it's so exciting. And I love the tasting notes as well for this Balmanac, guys. Ian, the note for cranberry, like dried cranberries, is such a like, it really has that sweet but tart kind of vibe. Super good. Michael's getting an almost salted caramel taste. And then other Michael is getting apples, berries, sourness, like grapefruit, and he and Ian are getting white pepper on the finish. Yeah, it's so cool.
Nobody detected. Sorry to interrupt. Nobody had. So I detected a little whiff of peat.
A little whiff of
peat.
The
aftertaste.
I get the salty, like a funky fruit, sulfurous rather than peat. But I like with Balmanac that it never goes too far into that little sulfur twang. It's like just enough that it's super ripe fruits and not fruits that are going off and going back. Yeah, like
that's
distilleries.
But that's I think that's always the interesting part of that sharing drams. You have different opinions on, have like something to talk about. So that's these kind of aspect of this. You can have a beer as well, but most of the times you just drink a beer and you don't talk about the taste. It's just like,
I don't know, you haven't seen some of these hipsters here in Melbourne in the way that they talk about beer, but
the beer festivals. Okay. Okay.
I'm sure Oktoberfest is not a time for talking about the beer, but
no, it's just get loaded on beers. Yeah,
the way it should be.
yeah.
Well, we might move on to the next whiskey, the Othrosk, where Ollie and I have been curating a little pronunciation list of distillery names that are hard to say recently, and this is one.
Yeah, I pronounce it Aukroisk.
Yeah, but someone like, I originally used to say Okrosk, but then someone told me it was like a TH kind of sound. It was Othrosk, like the ROI. I'm not certain. I will try and find out. Leo Okrisk. I love it. Thanks, guys. It's one of those tricky ones, and you're never quite sure until you're at the distillery and someone like glares you in the eye and is like, you messed that up.
Okay.
But yeah, so
sorry.
I was just going to say, for everyone in the chat who didn't know, so Liquid Treasures was imported by Whisky and Element for a long time. Back when I was working there, we imported Liquid Treasures. I actually got my hands on one of the pinup series 10th anniversaries for eSpirits, the Glen Murray. Couldn't help myself, it was so pretty. And I regret not getting the Glen Roths to pair with it to match.
It was the sherry ones, wasn't it? 19. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was like the cherry red dress or something like that. But so cool. And recently Whisky and Element has kind of been pulling back their focus and focusing more on the bar and such things. So they are letting go of some of their independent bottlings that they were importing previously. So as we had recently, we had Martin from Malt Barn on. Malt Barn has gone to Moorish Wines now. And we've picked up Liquid Treasures because, I mean, look, I was so super excited when Ollie called me. He was like, so this is happening. I was like, yes.
And you were on my list already. So I was in contact with Julian, and he said, he explained, he said, sorry, but I can help you to introduce. And I always had like, okay, I need to do a bit of research work and Google whiskey importers Australia, and there were numerous others, and there was the whiskey list, and I first like I thought, okay, they just do whiskey. So my main job will be whiskey, or remain whiskey. We will also do, or we have also done other spirits like rum. Yes, we have. So just to see the how do you say is it called the level? Up to date, we have done about like 140 something bottlings on the Liquid Treasures. We have done like 12 rum bottlings so far. We call it the Liquid Treasures rum sessions, and sticked or keep an eye on the French brandy side. Like we have released 2 Armagnacs, and it's like the fact is, or the reason is just you can get very good, well-matured stuff. Stuff is maybe the wrong word. You can get a good liquid, very good matured old liquid for good prices. So, and I fully understand if somebody says, okay, I'm just whiskey, or I'm a bit of rum, I don't like Armagnac or cognac. I understand that, but from the business side of view, we just keep an eye on that. If there's something very interesting for us, we bottle that. So the level for the bottlings was set very high order. So that was the real release last year. That it was a 40.
I think we've lost him.
That was a good entrance level. So
sorry, Vincent, what was it? You froze just for a minute there when you were telling us what it was.
Okay, sorry. I said so. The quality or maturation level was set by us. So that was the first Armagnac bottling, and that was a 1974 48-year-old Armagnac. So will happen. But we had another one that was in the okay, maybe too much talking about other spirits, but just as a side note, that was one of our anniversary releases in a smaller, just 29-year-old Armagnac. But you see, this is something that is still available, and what is a positive thing on this kind of spirit, it's on continental Europe. You don't have this kind of all this paperwork. Okay, we are recording shit and custom not problems. It's getting more expensive from the handling costs, so you can realize much more quicker than whiskey bottle. But okay, it was not our choice. So Brexit is another thing you can talk about for hours. But yeah, you can stick to it or you can leave it. So that's just the way it is. Yeah.
Yeah. We look, as the whiskey list, like our first love is whiskey. You know, it's the biggest thing we do. We dabble in some other spirits. You know, we've brought in a couple of rums. I picked this up before I left Whiskey and Ailment. There is like the tiniest quantity in it. It's I believe the 4 Square rum finished in Sauternes cask.
Yeah,
I think it is. And I can't drink rum, but I open this bottle and smell it every now and then because I'm obsessed with the aroma.
Okay, cool.
And I just keep on my bar. But yeah, it is one of those things of like, whiskey is so expansive, and then when you add other spirits into it, things get even more exciting. And Armagnac and cognac are something we're super keen and super interested on, particularly, again, like you were saying, with the costs and stuff associated with whiskey. By comparison, Armagnac and cognac, they're practically giving it away. That's crazy.
But you name it, so it's still very good cost level. But if you don't have the customer base, so if reason that they don't raise the prices too much, so maybe good for customers like us that want to get a certain stock or amount of casks maybe for the future. But well, yeah, we will stick to so it's our main business and our main focus. But it's always good to, how do you say, look on the edge of the plate. What is the, just
broaden your horizons?
Yes, something like that. Yes.
Something like that. Yeah, no, agree. Yeah. I love the tasting notes everyone's getting in as well for the Othrosk, which thank you, Howard, for checking the Malt Whiskey Yearbook for the pronunciation. Othrosk, close enough. Okay. Leo's getting boiled candy and candied orange peels. Howard's getting green apples. Sally's getting the same green apple and honey. Like palate's initial hit of sweet. For me, Othrosk has always been I don't imagine you have it in Germany, but the dinosaur lollies, the Allen's dinosaur, just gummy lollies. We get here in Australia, the pink one. So I've always described Othrosk as my dinosaur lolly whiskey. Because it's got a little bit of that, like when you bite into the yellow ones, that pineapple-y kind of tart tang as well. But super good. Howard's getting wine on the palate, but white wine, and Leo's getting the Riesling notes in drumstick lollipop. A drumstick.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was one of the I told you, so they are all the bottlings. So I just digged deep in my open bottle cases, and I couldn't find any more of the Alcroys. It's now Alcroys. But from the my tasting book, I just have my impression was I don't know if you have this in Australia. So we have, like in Germany, we have like chocolate pralines, and they're inside they're like cherry plums that are dipped into alcohol, and so you have these very fruity, sweet and chocolate combination. That is what I from that bottling.
Yeah, I think we do have some stuff that's kind of similar, but it'd be probably more like Italian or Greek inspired chocolate desserts filled with booze and fruit. But
I remember, is it still, you have these chocolate bars from Arnott's? Is it called Arnott's? Yeah, that I remember.
Yeah.
Dipping in tea and then.
Yeah, the Tim Tam biscuits. I've just packed my suitcase with about 6 or 7 packs of Tim Tams. They do a double chocolate dip coated now, and I may or may not be bringing them as bribes for distillers.
Okay.
So it should be really good. Yeah, Leo, liqueur cherry chocolates and stuff.
Yeah, liqueur cherry. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, just conscious of time, we might get onto the feta can. Before we start delving into the more sweet and juicy whiskies. I know everyone's probably real keen for that Macallan.
Yeah. Now I can drink again with you.
The feta can, yeah. So I bought a bottle of this, but then I traded it for with a friend. He gifted me a feta can, so I was like, well, I should gift him one back. And I was like, I regret this, but also
So this is one of these talked about at the beginning about the lineup, this is more like one of these more uncommon bottlings. That was part of the winter edition in 2021, and there was I have written that down. The winter edition came with two others. That was Heaven Hill bourbon, and we had a Ben Rinnes first fill PX sherry cask. And we bottled the, just to make it, to set a contrast to the other ones, that it's a sherry cask. So and I thought it's common, and it's good just to show our customers that a sherry cask is not one sherry like the other. It's like dark. We have like all the sweet notes, and I thought just put it into that lineup of releases first. And as I already said, so you have always something to talk about, that kind of so you have always these this is sherry cask. There's I can't find any or hardly any sherry, and I agree with that. So I as I said, I did release that cask for the fact that it was sherry, but for the fact that it's cherry but with no, probably I just can guess maybe a fourth fill, or I don't know. There were several other fillings before that. So
yeah, I mean, color wise and flavor wise, it tastes on that like more nuttier side. Howard gives a good call. It drinks like a Fino cast. I'd almost think like a Manzanilla, but like a really, really tired Manzanilla sherry cask kind of vibe. Yeah, super cool. It's got, I always get this balsamic vinegar kind of note with Fetacan as well. It's always got that weird tang tart to it, which I love. It's just so odd, and you don't see it in their core range bottlings either. So when it comes to selecting whiskies for liquid treasures, do you go for those like, I want to showcase something unusual, or smaller distilleries, or is it this has come across my desk and I'm super excited about it? What's the inspiration behind choosing?
So it's I would say it's a mixture of a couple of things. What I always try to do, or is if I set up a range, so it's kind of a showcase of what is in stock. So actually we manage or monitor around 100 own casks. So it's always a showcase of what we have, what cask stock we have on offer, and also what general cask broker market is offering in the moment. So we release, as I said, we release from own stock. We monitor them, and the usual business, if we think it's kind of right to be bottled. So we release that, and we always have an eye on the cask market, and in special for the older ones. So we are 15 years on the market, but we're still a small company, so we cannot afford or fund like I don't know, what do you say, very old casks, because they got too expensive. And we have now, they get older as well. That's a fact. But we also have a look on the cask market, and we buy, like, we picking if there are good opportunities from the price quality level. So we buy casks and release them as well. So what try is to have one kind of a flagship bottling. So we have some of younger casks, and also try to release at least one or two older casks. But as I said, we are still a small company, and it's getting risky. I think that's not a secret. If you have older casks and you now have to sell the bottles like for 300-400 euro, you have some kind of a customer base that still are willing to pay that. But it's I think in the moment we are like on a peak, and I can see it on the market as well. So casks that were offered a year ago, they're getting more, they get a bit cheaper. So there's not like a big price drop, because there's still demand for older whiskey, and there's other how do you say, market participate, how do you say, also other people, other competitors, and that have deeper pockets and buy stock and hold for a longer time, even older casks. So I don't think there will be a big price drop in these higher premium segment. But yeah, going, I think, I hope.
Well, I think it'll be definitely very interesting to see over the next year. I think we might find ourselves with a little bit more whiskey in the market in general if America decides to follow through with their idea of how tariffs work.
Yeah.
So yeah, it might be interesting to see how that affects the casks that end up coming into the market.
Actually you have a combination which is not very good for like traders. You have on the other hand, you have higher prices, and on the other side you have like a dropping interest, or a dropping buying power. So that's not meant negative or personally negative to consumers. I fully understand that, yeah. And especially in Europe, so we don't need to talk about politics or geopolitics, but it's a bit more aware of everything, yeah. And so and the fact, and that's another fact, is that the experienced drinkers that follow for several years already, so they tell you, okay, yeah, the 400 euros. So I can show you. This was one of our anniversary releases. That's in a close distillery, Cappadonic, from 1997. So sell that here for 399 euro retail price. So you can calculate that with transport cost and taxes and everything, what you have to charge that for Australia. You have some customers that buy this, but others, my cellar is full, and probably one of the attendants tonight, they tell you the same. I have so many whiskey, I don't know, I can give it to my kids someday, or I cannot drink that all, yeah. So why should I buy another bottle of that? I have like a Cappadonic or others like you name it, Bowmore or whatever. They were much cheaper, so why spend more money now? I fully understand that. So it's just a tough time in the moment, but there's how do you say? There's no need to complain or to spread doom. You have to go forward and see how it goes. Yeah, we had good years, as I said, during Corona, and this year is a bit more. See what coming next year. So but we have it's no secret. In the moment, we have put all bottlings on hold for the next months, and we just see how it goes. We have plans for 2020, but I've seen a drop in sales from we still have these anniversary bottlings in stock, so there's no need just to bottle more and more and keep get more into the warehouse here. So I think we just leave for 1 or more 2 years. So, and then we go on. So
yeah.
I think the plan in the moment.
I think it's an interesting thing as well. Like I think education and like knowledge. So I'm sure a lot of the guys in the chat here tonight perked up as soon as you said Capadonic. But, you know, I'm also sure that that's not necessarily like the most exciting distillery for a lot of people. So it's interesting. I always think of it as, you know, I always buy moments when I buy whiskey. Like I buy a moment where I tasted it, or it's a distillery that I love, or it's a year that's important to me, or something like that. And you know, obviously, yes, not everyone's like me, and I have a budget for moments that I buy, but yeah, it's
fair enough. Yeah.
But I love the chat that's going on in here. Leo's getting ash and normal Fetacan funk on the nose. Sally says it's quite a special sherry, more on the nutty side. Michael gets smoky ashiness on it, about it on the finish. And Ian says some water gives it a fudge taste, which is really cool. Leo's getting musty grape stalks, bit of oiliness. Ian was wondering what we think gives the ash notes on drams like this. It could be a factor of combinations. Like Leo said, it might have a portion of Fetacan peated spirit in it. I will be at Fetacan, so I will quiz them about that. But it could also be the barrel. It could be the sherry that was in it before was quite like high funk, you know, and
I like the expression funk.
Yeah, it's cool. It's retro.
Definitely.
It could be a good thing or it can be a bad thing, depending on the situation.
That's so we a little fable on uncommon or like even a bit funky. So it's not, is it like bad whiskey? So it's just you have people that like these kind of whiskey and others don't like. So, and we do it, or I do it that for a living, so we need to earn money. Of course, do mainstream bottlings as well. So what meets the customer demand or the customer interest more, but here and there I like things like that. So that is not for everybody, and I was. What I always like is to follow these the ratings on whiskey base. Yeah, like there's the most uncommon bottling is also coming in the night. So and it's really interesting to see that there are ratings from to not my type. So and that's the it's kind of risky. Yeah, if you have too many enthusiasts that are into a common whiskey, but
it's that thing of like there's a everyone likes different flavors, so
you
know, that's really cool.
And I have to say we never had any bottling that we had like in stock for years. You of course have you know yourself have bottlings that sell quick. Some bottles take a bit more time, or a bit more time. And but we were never left with any bottlings so far, and we always get good feedback on the bottlings. So yeah, I cannot complain.
Yeah. In case anyone was wondering as well, they're like, wait, didn't this Fetacan come out a while ago? All of the whiskey we got from the Whiskey Now guys. We helped them offload. So they've, to be fair, they have a lot of whiskey in their upstairs back room that they're slowly getting through. So any chance we have to bring out some more bottles and share them with you guys, we will. So we might move on to whiskey number 4, which I'm the most I love Fetacan. I love Fetacan so much. But this is the one I was most excited about. I'll be putting out a Christmas list of whiskeys that the team recommends, and this was my pick because it's got all those like red berry fruits that you'd want to put on pavlova, in my opinion. Vincent, I don't know if you had the glory of pavlova when you were traveling over here.
Sorry, what?
I take it you probably didn't try pavlova while you were over here?
What's that?
It is a cake that is entirely meringue, and then people just put fruit on it, and that's it, and that's cake.
Okay.
It's bizarre and it's simple.
But that's for Christmas.
Yeah.
Is that for Christmas? Okay.
For Christmas, because it's summertime, so it's hot down here. So it's like, you got the fresh fruits to cool you off and whatnot. My family never really got into pavlova much, but I think that most Australian desserts are pretty much, how can I make something that tastes great with the least amount of effort possible?
No, I haven't tried that. No, no.
Yeah,
I can't remember that has ever come this expression to my ears. No.
Well, next time you take a trek down here in summer, we'll get some pavlova. And yeah, it was named after, I think, the Russian ballet dancer or something. Everyone in the chat is way more Australian than I am.
Okay. So. Okay.
But yeah, super cool.
I remember just Santa Claus with the boxer shorts on. That was pretty interesting when I was in Australia, because usually here it's cold. You have hot red wine and bratwurst, and celebrating Christmas. I don't know, goes in the oven. It's like cold, and I spent Christmas in Australia on a boat trip and Whitsunday Islands. That was for 3 days, so it was pretty cool. So t-shirt on, swimming. So that was very different Christmas to what I was used to have in Europe. Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely. But you're lucky you have summer now, or you're getting hot now in Australia, isn't it?
Well, I live in Melbourne, and Melbourne it does what it wants. So I think it was quite hot this morning, but I think we're due for a thunderstorm and rain tonight. So who knows?
Okay.
It's a bit all over the place in Melbourne, but other parts of the country are definitely getting nice and warm. Leo has corrected me that pavlova is not fully meringue. There's like a meringue bit and then soft marshmallow center and lashings of cream and then fruit on top, and it's a whole thing.
Okay.
But yeah, it's absolutely classic, and I'm pretty sure it was invented by New Zealanders and we just stole it off them.
Okay. Yeah, but next time maybe I have to try. That's something that just come that's served during Christmas, so you cannot order that I don't know, at the other time of the year.
Oh, I think you definitely probably get it.
Okay, I keep that in mind.
I'm sure it'll be fine. Sally's got a great question, and I think this kind of ties into the Tiananmen we're drinking now. And I think the Othrosk and the Balmanac were the same. So the themes that you have for the labels, I think these were the Alice in Wonderland style themes. Yeah. Is there any kind of do you get an inspiration from the whiskies, or do you just come up with a cool idea and then you just happen to run with those labels? How do you choose the theme?
It's more to answer that question, to find a picture that expresses the whiskey, and then find several related or similar pictures for the other releases. That's probably pretty hard. So it's right that I have an impression. So what I do, so this is something what is one of my last remaining hobbies apart from working and being father of 2 kids. So I don't draw them myself, of course, so I'm not an artist, but I check on different platforms about pictures and or artist things, and just that is most of the time it's like a personal liking, like. So and if I find like a theme and I like it, and I have like 3 or 4 similar ones like the Wonderland series, and of course the Wonderland series was the autumn winter released in that year, so I don't put any like a summer theme or like with a ocean and whatever, or a sun on that. So it has a bit of snow, has a bit of a autumn touch. So so I try to check the labels or the themes, and then if it fits into the time we release it, like I said, now in the autumn. So yes, so it's more like the picture, and then what is important for me, I want to create awareness. So with these kind of pictures, okay, this is not an idea I had, so many other bottlers have done that as well. But what I've noticed is that the awareness of taste and a picture, that you remember that more. And I remember the last whiskey festival, somebody came up to the stand and he said like, "Oh, you had this kind of Towing tool. I'm not sure, was it 19-year-old? Do you have that still for tasting?" I said, "Yeah, Towing tool. You know the label, something." Yeah, there was a spider on it. I said, "Oh yeah, this is from this and that release." And it was just one grab here. I mean, he was so happy. He said, "Oh, cool. I wanted to taste that." So that shows me that this works, and that people can combine that better in mind. And I knew that this question came up because at the beginning we just, like when we did the first bottlings, was like trial and error. We just check how it works. So at the beginning we had just these liquid treasures without a drop. Can you see out the drop? And then I thought like maybe you can get create a label that is constantly on the label. So you have you can create at that time I maybe create a better awareness if you have more on the label. So that was the time when this little drop was founded. You can see this here on the as well. So we did several bottlings with this kind of label. A very first export customer from Japan, Acon Limited, he told me, "You do so nice whiskey, but your labels are boring." He said, "If we have this in the shelf or in the bar, you just have these drop. Can you go back to these kind of labels at the beginning?" So when my first bottling I didn't tell you that my first bottling was 2011, Liquid Treasure. That was the joint bottling with Villa Conto, and it was a Almanach these days. And that was the time I started directly with the series, where I had like very cool boat labels. And then I tried this one. So yeah, it was a time of trial and error. And yeah, others told me the same. I asked them directly. I said, "Here, the customer from Japan, he says, the label is kind of boring. What do you think?" And some people said no, and some said, "Yeah, I have to be honest. I think they're a bit boring as well." So I said, "Okay, yeah, it's always good to have a customer feedback." And we changed back to do series with like artist and artist labels. Yeah.
I will say, as someone who's familiar with acorn bottlings from Japan, acorn labels all look the same. It's just an oval with an acorn logo at the top, so they can't really talk too much.
Yeah.
But no, that's cool. I kind of agree, but at the same time, I agree with Sally. If you would consider releasing the drop style label, you could do like different color drops, like paint drops or something.
Yeah,
that would be fun.
But maybe it's the fact that it's that we are an import brand for Japan, and Acon is very well known. So people know what they buy, so they don't care if there's just an Acon or whatever on the label. So I think they just told me from sales point of view, that it's that they have a better sales when you have pretty nice, interesting labels. So maybe that's the explanation. But I have to say, Acorn was my first export customer, and they still supported me over the 15 years I'm in the business now. And yeah, others left, others changed. So from the very first beginning. So yeah. I'm very happy with them. And if they tell me the label is boring, I can handle that.
Yeah. Acorns they're an incredible brand. They did a 13-year-old Lefroy bottling years ago, and it made it to one of my all-time favorite Lefroy, which is a whiskey I don't really like. But yeah, it's a great brand if you can find it out.
It's not too far away from your side, no?
No, but we don't get as much. We're starting to get more and more Asian independent bottlings here in Australia. I don't think Acorn has an official importer unless it's the guys from Elysian or whatnot. They might bring some in. So, but yeah, who knows? Love the feedback on this dram. Red Frog Lollies is a great one, Leo. Absolutely, Michael. Beautiful, rich, full-bodied mouthfeel. Getting a sweeter palate. Sally loves it. It's nice, sweet, fruity banana, definite dryness. Sally is surprised I don't like Lefroy. Yes, it's not my favorite distillery or whiskey. Despite the fact that I have paid for a tour and I'm going there, I will persevere. I love and appreciate, just like I can't drink rum. I love and appreciate, but not for me.
Okay.
But yeah, no, super good. And look, to be fair, this is kind of a good segue into the next whiskey, which is, I believe it's written different on your sample. On your sample, it should say 1992 Macallan 30-year-old for the Antelope Macau. I assume the Antelope Macau is a bar in Macau?
No, they are not a bar, so they are more like an import company. I think they have kind of a bar and they do tastings and these, but they also have a big. They have opened a big whiskey shop in one of these malls, so they are quite big. And Macau, I'm not sure if you know, Macau is like a special economic area in China, so they have less regulations, so they don't need certifications, and the paperwork is a bit easier. So I'm not sure when Antelope joined the whiskey my importer list, but this bottling here is the most expensive one we have done so far, and this is a good expression for what I have told already. This is like what we can do for customers. We can monitor the market and tell them what is available, because this was a very, very high price. So not sure how you sell, what price you sell this in Australia, but we don't make a fortune on that. So it was a very, very expensive cask. And I looked around and the guys said, like, a lot of Asian love Macallan. I said, you can't find any Macallan. I said, yeah, but it's much more expensive. But I have something that's called, that was offered like blended malt from Edrington Warehouse. So, and all the alarm clocks were like, oh, Edrington, yeah. And I got the samples and I said, yeah, guys, okay, there's some Macallan in there. I can, from the profile, I know there's some Macallan in it, but I cannot tell you it is Macallan. Taste, and I for sample, and they were all over the place. They were like, oh yeah, this is like that's probably just teaspoon. This is Macallan with just a teaspoon. I said, okay, we can realize that, but as I said, it was very high price, so I was happy that most of the bottles went to Macau. So it's not It's not for the fact that it's very good whiskey, but at that time already bottled in 2022, it was very, very expensive. So most of that went to China and or to Macau, and from there probably made some of the bottles to China mainland. And of course, we asked around at the other at the other importers if there's any interest, and so some of the bottles came to Australia and to other export partners, and we still have some of these in stock because it's a very expensive one. So nothing you buy for a daily dram or to treat yourself every month. So but the good thing on in our business is you can patiently wait. It's not getting bad in the bottle. You can have it in the warehouse for some more time. So yeah, but the most important fact, it's paid off. So you don't have a headache if it's in the warehouse for too long. So yeah, the most expensive one. Yeah, I was a bit nervous, I have to say. I think there's no secret. If you're still a small company and you have like a sherry butt, like with over 500 bottles of this valuable stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, definitely great. There's definitely a great good whack of Macallan, but it's not that like overly sherried Macallan. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a bit of Glenturret in here as well, and I love old Glenturret. I think I only say that because it's got this lovely sugar cookie biscuit thing to it. Yeah, super great. Leo says it's light and dangerously quaffable, except for the cost. Yes.
Yeah.
I wish we could all afford to quaff down bottles of this.
Yeah.
All the time. But yeah, it's absolutely incredible. I think we're selling it for 1,125, which I mean, yeah, again, it's not an everyday whiskey for people, but at the same time, you know, if you were to buy a bottle of Macallan anywhere near the same age, you'd be selling your firstborn child, your spare kidney, you know.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I've always had the opportunity with some friends to share a bottle, and if you're really keen on it, like we share a bottle or we make 3 parts of it, and so I've yeah, I fully understand if that's not something that is running off the shelves very quickly. Yeah, but it was an interesting bottling from both sides, from the taste side and from the business side as well. Yeah, so
yeah, I think when you particularly Edrington whiskies of this age, when you get the opportunity to get your hands on one, it's kind of a no-brainer, you know. The segue between talking about Laphroaig to talking about Macallan is I'm not overly impressed with modern Macallan. It's really hard to see the modern iterations of Macallan. I think the classic cut comes closest to what they produce that is incredible, but if you've ever had the opportunity to try Macallans from the 90s, the 80s, or any of that time period, it's worlds apart. So I think, yeah, even just getting to try this and to share this with you guys is a great experience to show you what Macallan can really live up to be. And maybe if I relentlessly bully them for the next 20 years, they'll go back to making it the way they did. But we can only hope that you know, it kind of changes. I heard a rumor from somebody that if you go on a tour at Macallan, they don't serve you whiskey, they serve you wine on the distillery tour, and then you can pay extra to add the whiskey in. And I'm like,
okay,
what are you doing? Like, you know, their market demographic is wine people, not whiskey people. And you know, I hope that we get back.
Yeah, I don't. So they are kind of successful for sure. But I've noticed that that a lot of people just complain about it's more like packaging, marketing, compared to what is in the bottle. Yeah. So I don't know if they have pressure from some kind of shareholders or whatever that they have to do, make money, revenue. I don't know. So and I think I'm not the one who has the right to, I don't know, argue about or complain. That's their business, and you can buy it or not, you can do the tour or not. So it's up to the customer side, and if there's still people willing to pay for this, it's okay. It's okay. But I wanted to just tell you one very funny. I've almost forgotten about that, and it's I don't know if you have noticed that on the label. So this is the label was made definitely from a Chinese artist, and I asked like, oh, these people there, is it you guys? And they said, yeah, that's my and me with our wives drinking. Okay, you're trying, and I had not have a keen eye on the details. I had just a keen eye on the written details. Is compliant with the SWA standard, so that all information is okay on the label. But I didn't notice this this bottle shape here, maybe.
Oh, jeez.
and one customer told me, "Hey, cool, yeah, that's in Macallan, isn't it?" And I said, "Yeah, did you detect it from taste?" No, I think there's a Macallan bottle on the label, and I was like, "Oh shit," because I have no experience with that, and I don't want to get into any legal trouble with a big distillery, yeah. And I was a bit like, oh shit, the bottles were already labeled and on the way to the importers, and I was like, oh shit, I hope it's not yeah, it's if you watch it closely, you can imagine it could be an Macallan shape or whatever, but yeah, fine. There's nothing mentioned on the label, and it's, yeah, I call it's the artist freedom.
If anyone comes after you, just say it was AI generated, and if you can zoom in enough to see the word Macallan, then you can say, you know, like nobody could do that.
Yeah. So that's why I said, just for the fun, officially Macallan, because it's recorded on your website. But okay, maybe you can make it, re-edit the video later, and you make like there's a beep on there.
Yeah, I love it. Ian's mentioned that apparently Macallan, they provide scones and tea or coffee beforehand. All right, if there's Devonshire tea, I can forgive them a little bit. But Howard's been a few times and not a fan, so maybe I will have to go see for myself. But yeah, Sally says it's complex, oily, nice. Like oily is definitely. I'm getting that like You ever have cookies fresh out of the oven and then you can almost feel that buttery oiliness on the outside of the cookie and whatnot? Or is that just me because I baked a lot of cookies?
And it's very mouth filling, you know, and the finish is very, very long. So it's not like a whiskey, like you taste and then it's disappearing. You have a very long aftertaste for my taste.
Yeah, it's super good. And yeah, another comment from Sally that for old Macallans, the year, the vintage of them isn't important. It's just having an old Macallan, and I 100% agree. If you get the chance to try old Macallan, you see how they built such an incredible reputation. Yeah. Howard says that this is wonderful. You know, Michael, well balanced, rounded, with slight tartness on the finish. And yeah, I think we're all in agreement with Leo's. Dangerously delicious, except for the the bank account situation.
That's all very nice feedback. Dangerously delicious. Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I love it. Well, we might move on to the final whiskey of the night. Now, I am super curious about this one. So I think, is it the start of this year? God, this year has gone really fast. I think it was towards the start of this year we had a tasting with Thompson Brothers Secret Highland that was from the same vintage, same year, similar kind of casting. And I think Chris was convinced it was a Clynelish. I was like, it's not a Clynelish. I was convinced it was a Clynelish. I'm like, it's very clearly peated, Chris. And I feel like this is also peated, correct?
Yeah. It's also on the named on the label. It's a peated type cask. It's a Hogshead. That's why when I wrote to you yesterday that it's not a sherry cask. It's a peated cask, and we have we got the same feedback here as well. So first of all, this is that's the very rest of it. I found that in the sample box. You know yourself, if there's more air in there than liquid, so it's time to finish the bottle or just make samples of it. So so I found this very last one of this of our most uncommon bottling so far in the sample box, and we got the same feedback here as well. So some people we sold a lot at the last bottles last year at the Whisky Fair show, because I don't know, somebody's he spread the rumor there's a secret there's a Clynelish secret Highland up there at Liquid Treasures. So and I told them, they asked me, is it Clynelish? This is Clynelish. And I said, I cannot tell you for sure it's Clynelish. So they have, what I detected, there are some waxy notes you usually have in Clynelish, but that it's not for that reason you cannot tell people it's definitely a Clynelish. But apart from the fact that people bought that on rumor that it's a Clynelish, I told them buy it for the fact that you like it, and it's as I said, it's one most uncommon bottling so far. It's really a love and hate whiskey, and that's why I told to Emma, maybe we put this at the end of the show, because it definitely has kind of dirty and meaty character, very mineral, and even the peaty note from the cask. And I personally tend more to an Ardmore, but I cannot tell you unofficially. So sometimes you can buy cask and then you get the unofficial info what's inside, but that's not the fact here. So yeah, it's really you like or you don't like it, and I'm curious about what the people say, what if they like it or not. So I liked it. That was the fact that I bottled it, but it was for sure one of these uncommon bottlings, and I don't mind if I can understand if people say it's not my type of whiskey, and but it's just a different side of whiskey. It's not like mainstream whiskey. Maybe it's more like for the more educated or more experienced drinkers. Maybe nothing what you put into a beginner's tasting, for sure.
Yeah, it's actually very similar. I think this one's more balanced than the Thompson Brothers one. The Thompson Brothers was a bit more chewy. This one's a little bit more softly. It's quite fatty, if that makes sense, in the way that I get like flavors of like pork and fennel sausages kind of stuff. It's that like fennel aniseed, but the pork fatty. And it's got a little bit of swimming pool chlorine, which sounds like a bad thing, but it's not a bad thing. It's very nostalgic almost. It's super, super cool, super, super interesting. And yeah, I completely agree. It's a totally like love it or hate it kind of whiskey. I love the guesses in the chat. Howard guessed it was Ben Nevis, but Leo doesn't think it's oily or funky enough. Ian also thinks it might be an Ardmore. I find Ardmore is quite buttery. It always reminds me of butter on toast, and I'm not getting that off this. I would almost get like one of the really weird releases from Loch Lomond. I know that Loch Lomond does like a variety of different ones, like Inchfad and stuff like that you don't see often, but then why would it be Secret Highland? So it's kind of tricky. It's kind of interesting, and maybe one day.
This is one of these releases you can talk about. And for a long time, or how you say, for ages. There's always a different opinion. So yeah, and as I said, we sold last bottles last year at the Whisky Fair, and there were many people that came up and said, "Oh, this is a really great one, very, very different to others, but I like it." But I remember there was one guy, he came up and he tried that, and he was like, kind of giving out, like, "Oh, this is bad, this is really shit." And I was like, "Oh Jesus." I said, that's just a matter of fact. And I said, I hand him, I would charge, I don't know, €5, and said, "Here, take your €5 back. I'm sorry for that." But I didn't want him to make a more like a drama queen, but yeah, that doesn't happen very often, but it happened. So, but okay, many others bought a bottle and they were very, very happy about sharing a dram. So yeah, our most unconventional bottling so far.
Yeah, I love it. You've always got to do one where you're like, weed out the true lovers and the people who are like.
Now you're frozen now.
I feel like it's my brain. Oh, all right. Am I back?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
you are far away, so it can happen.
Fair enough. Yeah, I feel like it's one that I'm like, it's not one that I'm gonna drink every day, but it tickles my brain in a way that I really enjoy, which is super, super cool. Leo's wondering if Ardnamurchan was around in 2000. It does have that similar kind of vibe to the Ardnamurchans, but yeah, it is much older than that distillery. Michael was going to say wax, but definitely fatty. Sally, algae, salt, some gunpowder, another good funky one. Mark's not a big fan of peated, but he's definitely had worse, so it's not bad at all. Ian reckons it might pip the rest, and it's amazing. Howard's getting stone fruit on the palate. Michael got a really good aftermath of wood fire.
Oh, you're frozen again. Really, maybe it's
I love the debate in the chat. This is so good. Okay. Well, I'm not sure. Anyway, the conversation in the chat is fantastic, but I think what we will do is we will run the poll. So every tasting, we run a poll, and everyone can pick their top 2 favorite whiskies. Vincent, you and I can see the poll. It's kind of like watching horse racing.
Okay.
Once everyone's voted, we'll share the results at the end. But yeah, this way we can really see what the picks of the day was. Leo doesn't think this is the same distillery as the Thompson brothers. Interesting.
What was it? What did the guys from Thompson Brothers tell you what it is, or they don't not know themselves, or didn't know themselves?
No, I think that was a tasting where we weren't able to get Phil on because I think he just got married or his brother just got married. So we had the importers for Thompson. They ran the tasting with us and they had asked them. They didn't know. So it's not certain. I think they thought it was Loch Lomond, but yeah, not sure at all. But yeah, alrighty. Oh, everyone's on the poll quick. Amazing. So drum roll, please. And I think there we go. Share results. I think nobody is surprised.
But look, you still have some 3. Yeah, it still have 3 people that think that the Secret Highland was the best one. So pretty interesting.
Yep. The far and away winner, the Speyside blended Macallan, Tiernanek coming second.
Yeah.
It's definitely. It's a happy whiskey. It's just bright and happy, and like sometimes I just need my whiskey to make me happy. But yeah, the Othrosk getting some love, and then the Balmanac and Fetacan coming up with just 1 vote. That's all right. It's
Yeah, I've noticed that like Highland whiskies and wine cast they match very well. So not just the Tanninic.
Yeah.
There has to be some, I don't know, matching components from wine and whiskey that people really please.
Yeah. I think it's just a marriage made in heaven. So, but officially that concludes. You won't see me for like a month, so you better soak up every minute of me while you got it.
Yeah, you're frozen. You're frozen again. So I don't know.
No. How about now? We good now? Yep, good now. All right, quick. I'll wrap it up quick, and then I'll let you guys get on to your night. Thank you so much again for joining us. We will. Almost before I forget. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I nearly forgot. There's 20% off all Liquid Treasures tonight. So use the link or use the code LIQUID at checkout. Yeah. Off of everything from this shop store. And I believe Ollie will send that link out again in the follow-up email as a thank you. And that is it for me tonight. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Vincent, if you wanted to hang on for a little bit longer for the debrief. But yeah, I will see all the rest of you guys hopefully in a month or so. Take care.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me in Australia, and I always wish you a Merry Christmas already. I think we won't have another tasting before Christmas, and we have something in the pipeline for next year. So that wanted to say because you have this rum bottle in the back, so. The this 4 square cask that was not disposed. I used that again, and I have refilled it with a Kaolila. It's 2008 Kaolila, so it's about 2000. It's about 16 years already, and I've shared this with my friend from the Whisky Fair. So we might do that as like another joint bottling. But we wait on the sample, so it's like it's not a rum finish. I think it's always already in the cask for like 2 years. What was, maybe you can have a look. The 4 square was bottled 2021 or 2022.
2018.
Bottled 2018.
2018.
Or maybe it's another
a different one.
Maybe, but I have a Kaolila with a rum cask with double maturation. Yeah. I thought it was the 4 square cask. Sorry, so but it's we think about Kaolila rum cask. It's something you can look forward, and yeah, I keep you posted, and I hope to see you again online or maybe in person someday. Yeah. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me in Australia.
Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, thanks everyone for joining tonight. Take care. We'll see you at the next one.
Bye-bye.